yesterday, December 7th, 1941, a date which will live in infamy. The United States of America was suddenly and deliberately attacked by naval and air forces of the Empire of Japan.
Today's story is about a ghost plane, a story that's been twisted throughout the decades. But we're going to get to the shocking truth. The modern version of this story is, on December 8th, 1942, two pilots scrambled to get in their P-40s and take off. There was a plane approaching Pearl Harbor 1 year and 1 day after the infamous attack of 1941. When the pilots reached the plane that was incoming, something was different. One wing had been chewed off almost, riddled with bullet holes, and the pilots slumped over the controls. Pilots got up to get a closer look. The markings were from a year ago. The United States had changed their paint scheme. This plane could not have possibly been in the air for a year and been one of the original defenders of Pearl Harbor. But as they got closer to the bird, they noticed this plane was in peril. It was going down. And the pilot was gone. But the pilot came to life, turned around, gave them an eerie grin. And as he took a right bank, they noticed that the landing gear was gone. No trace of it, just a completely destroyed fuselage of a bird. And it crashed into the ground. Where did it come from? That's the modern version of the story. But after a little bit of digging, finding a story that was published in Reader's Digest decades ago, it's actually a little bit more heroic and real. The Greatest Generation. In World War II, Japan occupied the Philippines, leaving behind Americans scattered all over the islands, some becoming prisoners, some continuing to fight. These ones that continued to fight found an abandoned airstrip, started piecing together planes, putting everything together into a P-40. Their mission wasn't to go and get rescued. The mission was to hit a Japanese airstrip over 1,000 kilometers away, then head into Chinese territory where the pilot, former Flying Tiger, knew some people and could make it. But this story has a few twists. These pilots gathered all these pieces of planes, but they could not get landing gear together. They could not get it to take off. Everything was ready. They had extra fuel tanks, munitions, everything to carry out this mission and possibly do something toward the war effort. So they had an idea. They made bamboo skids where the plane would drop off a cliff and catch up enough speed to generate enough lift to get airborne. They were successful. The pilot made it to the airstrip. His mission was successful, but he was mortally wounded in the attack, drifted off course. Two pilots came up, scrambled, just like from the story before, and saw the pilot, slumped over. But he didn't give the eerie grin in this version. The plane just crashed. But a diary was recovered from the crash site with his story of heroics, of what was going on in the Philippines. But there's one twist to this story. It was written by a former flying tiger. It's complete bullcrap. It was a bar story came up with bored fighter pilots, and it took a life of its own. This story did not happen. It's not true. It's completely false. But it is in a book. Tales of Fiction from World War II. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed today's video, this is a group project for a Facebook group called Mr. Ballin is Everything. It is based off the YouTube channel that Mr. Ballin built. Please check out his channel and subscribe to his channel. This is not in any way a promotion for this channel. It is actually for Mr. Ballin's channel and for group projects for the Facebook group Mr. Ballin is Everything. Thank you, and I hope you enjoyed this story.